Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
I've told you before, I am a very, 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 very amateur photographer, like extremely amateur, but more in the prosumer amateur range. So I like having good equipment. And when it came time for me to go out and get a digital SLR for our family, I ended up going with a Canon XTI because it was very affordable, very lightweight, and I've always been happy with, well, for the most part, with Canon's line of digital cameras, specifically their software. So I, of course, asked the community at live.pirillo.com and on YouTube to submit top 5 lists related to photography or digital photography digital photography in relation to digital SLRs. And the community definitely responded. I was very happy to receive a handful of emails related to top things that you need to keep in mind, including this email from Corbin Schneider, top things you should know about your digital SLR camera or your SLR camera. And he's got 10 of them listed here. I'm not going to read all 10 of them, but he's got a few good points that don't necessarily just apply to digital SLR cameras or SLR cameras, but to just any digital camera in general, including the first tip. Megapixels are not everything. People tend to think the more megapixels, the better your photos turn out. It's just not true. Other factors come into play, like lens, like sensor size, mirror, etc., etc. For example, you can have a 10 megapixel camera, like even if it's a point and shoot camera, but if the sensor's small or it's a bad sensor, then your photos are just going to come out looking like junk. Same thing with a digital SLR. 2, some people say it's alright to change lenses while the camera's on, but over time, you can cause damage to your camera. The sensor is electrically charged, so dust particles and other debris is going to be attracted to it. It doesn't take long to flip off the switch and change the lenses. One of the nice features of the XTI, by the way, is that it's got a feature that when you turn it off, it does some kind of dance where it shakes off dust and debris, which is kind of nice. I don't know if it does a dance or if it just like shoots off electricity or whatnot, but dust allegedly will fly off of the camera. Well, not the entire thing, but just where it's most important on specifically where it's electrically charged. Helps keep the dust and debris away from the lens in that area where photos are going to be taken, sensor, etc. Number 3, if you live in the cold, well, chances are you may have left your camera out in the cold, or you've been outside with that camera in the cold for a while. First things first, condensation. If you take your camera or lens outside after being in sub-zero temperatures, the camera will condensate, reason being because it comes in from something cold and is probably going into a house that is going to be substantially warmer. Instead of taking it inside that very moment, if you have a camera bag, and I hope you do, then take the camera bag outside, but don't put the camera in right away. Let the camera bag cool down to the outside temperature, let it acclimate, then put the camera inside the bag. Take the bag inside the house and let them gradually warm up, hopefully preventing any damage to your camera and or lenses. Number 4, do not get no-name brand compact flash cards. It's a bad idea to risk your photos on, really cheap hardware. Sure, they may be cheaper, but they also tend to break a lot. And in the long run, you'd have to keep replacing them. So stick with the name brands and save yourself the headache. I kind of feel the same way. I can't say that everything I get is always top-notch, but I try to stay with brands. For instance, this chair that I've talked about for, quite a while, it's a Grawl Synchron 8. I believe Grawl no longer sells them. I don't even think you can find Grawl chairs online very easily. But I spent hundreds of dollars on this chair, but it's lasted me, well, pretty much near a decade. It's an amazing chair. Amazing. Instead of spending $100 on 7 different chairs, why not spend $700 on a really good chair? And it's really good for your back, too. Love this chair. Cameras are the same way. And lenses, too, of course. Well, so long as... Anyway. And removable media. Sorry, I was obviously trying to make a point there. Hopefully you got it. Number 7, when you're changing lenses, it's a good idea to look inside for dust and other such debris on a regular basis. But if you ever notice something, like a screw that's out of place, don't try to fix it yourself. If the camera's working, let it continue to work, or try to get it into a repair professional. It's very important. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who are into the whole DIY thing, but you may be DIYing yourself out of a digital camera. Unless, of course, you're willing to DIY yourself out of a digital camera. Different situation there. Number 8, if your camera has a problem and you think you can fix it, don't try it. Number 9, something I see happen quite a lot is that people with their darn flashes open. They leave it open. Yeah, they're useful when you need them, but not when you're in broad daylight and you don't even need it. So when the flash is not in use, make sure it's not up. It's important for saving battery life, and the only difference, or the only caveat to this is a suggestion that I made yesterday in one of our videos, is that if you're shooting a subject in broad daylight, like in the foreground, you've got a background, definitely use the flash as a fill flash so the subject in the foreground won't be darker. So, Corbin, thank you for this list of tips. You know, a lot of us have digital cameras, if not digital cameras, and certainly disposable ones. There's a camera most likely somewhere in your house, but do you really know how to use it? Do you want to know how to use it? Do you want to take better pictures? Do you want to have a better camera? The next time you go out to buy one, well, pay attention to these tips. That's what they're here for. Now, maybe you've got a top 5 list that you'd like to submit. My email address is chris@pirillo.com. I'll take any top 5 list you got, whether it's related to photography or not. In fact, the further away it is from the subject of technology and software and hardware and the internet, etc., the happier I am. Because I love hardware and software and the internet and all that stuff, but I don't know a lot about the rest of the world. I'm not very worldly. You ever notice how all the videos that we shoot are me sitting in front of this computer monitor? I don't have much of a life. And if you'd like to experience my lack of life, well, then you know that we're streaming this lack of life out onto the internet every day. And it's the whole chatting community thing. People stop in, they drop by, they say hello. Usually nice people. We have a lot of nice people. Yeah, Bored College Kid says that I have a nice LCD tan. Absolutely true. You can take a white balance against the bottom of my arm. It's very, very white from my wrist to my crelbo. Anyway, stop by if you don't have a life. Maybe you have a life and you just want to meet other people digitally and have something to look forward to and mix and mingle with a live, active community. We're live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at blank. Drawn a blank. Oh, thank you, Ozark Mark. Live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.